of Studio 4, where you get the first newspaper about the show launching, you'll notice that there are some other pieces of paper on the board right behind it. This piece of paper is repeated 3 times on this board alone, and it's tucked away behind the other posters and boards throughout the map, so you know that it's going to have to be important. This page is actually an excerpt from an autobiography of a 4th and 5th century Catholic theologian, bishop, and eventual saint, Augustine of Hippo. St. Augustine's autobiography is a multi-book series chronicling his journey back to God. This particular passage found in My Friendly Neighborhood actually comes from the 7th book, specifically chapters 12 and 15, which go through Augustine understanding what the true meaning of good and evil is. Now, it's an old book, so it's pretty darn philosophical, so I'm going to do my best to just summarize 2 of the key points that are relevant to what we're talking about today. First, the idea that corruption can only exist if things are inherently good, arguing that if everything wasn't good at a fundamental level, then nothing could be corrupted. Everything would just be inherently evil. The second point is that corruption itself isn't a tangible thing. It is just the absence of goodness. How does that relate to our silly sock puppet video game? Well, the puppets, the characters that used to dazzle children the world over, were always good, and mostly still are. They were living the message of being a friendly neighborhood. It's why when they see us and start chasing us, they're not saying horrible things. Their arms are stretched out wide for a hug. They're not trying to hurt us, they're happy to see us. They want to be friendly. It's only after the show was canceled and they were exposed to the evils of the world via television did corruption start to seep in, and those good things, like a hug or a child-friendly message, became twisted, corrupted, hurtful, and those were the lucky ones. Eventually, the puppets that became too exposed to the horrors of the world transformed and morphed into the amalgamation of evil that we see during the game's final battle. And the connection to this random theological text isn't just the story of the puppets. The game is trying to tell us that we humans are also inherently good. Throughout the game, we repeatedly see this corruption sneaking into not just the puppets, but to the adults of this world. You have your parents writing in to say that the show's selfless messaging might be bad. General Rogers argues that a wise man is a selfish man, and the actor who left the show after becoming more concerned with his future than that of the show. All of these characters have let things like the war and television corrupt them, make them selfish, capitalistic, and thanks to that, the good morals of My Friendly Neighborhood, the light that the creators mentioned in his farewell message, has been snuffed out. And just like St. Augustine said, corruption is the absence of good. And so with that good gone, the world becomes worse.
Gordon, look at this city!